Jika Pak Douglas, menarik sekali ada investor datang di Jawa Tengah, urusannya kecil sekali. Kebetulan dia penanaman modal asing. Pak Ganjar, saya sudah investasi. Kenapa kemudian saya tidak bisa segera jalan? Apa problem? Pak, saya dipersulit. Apakah Anda berani terbuka menyampaikan kepada saya apa yang dipersulit dan siapa aktornya? Mungkin di negara beliau yang seperti ini terbiasa, sehingga dia langsung terbuka. Lalu saya tanya, apakah Anda pernah bertemu saya? Tidak. Kenapa Anda bisa mendapatkan nomor telepon saya? Dari mana Anda bisa dapatkan itu? Saya dapat dari aplikasi lapor gubernur yang Bapak miliki, karena ada banyak nomor telepon dan salah satunya saya coba iseng aja ini nomornya Pak Ganjar atau bukan, dan ternyata betul. Oke. Silahkan Anda sebut. Lalu disebut institusinya, disebutlah persoalannya, dan disebut orangnya. Saya sampaikan, baik, saya akan urus dalam 1 jam, dan saya urus sendiri. Lalu saya telepon. Saya telepon orangnya, dan ternyata memang bukan staf saya, tapi ini relate dengan semua ya, kebijakan yang ada di Jawa Tengah. Maka tugas saya kemudian untuk nelpon seseorang itu. Saya hanya telepon begini, Bapak Ibu. Anda selesaikan minta maaf atau Anda urusan dengan saya. 1 jam berikutnya setelah saya telepon, beres, segala dokumen diantar, dan mereka menyampaikan begini, Gubernur, waktu itu saya kasih Gubernur, apakah jika ada kejadian seperti ini, saya boleh melapor langsung kepada Pak Gubernur? Saya jawab dengan pertanyaan, kenapa harus saya? Karena waktu itu sebenarnya saya sudah melalui setiap tahap sesuai SOP yang ada, tapi tidak selesai. Maka saya meyakini ketika transformasi birokrasi mesti dilakukan, maka mesti ada pengawas tertinggi yang harus melakukan pengawasan supervising yang terus-menerus tidak boleh putus. Dan itu artinya memang butuh effort yang lebih tinggi lagi, atau kalau tidak, itu tidak akan terjadi.
The other aspect, the third aspect that we'd like to echo here is ensuring that good governance is present and corruption eradication need to be re-strengthened. We need not only strengthening KPK, which is good, but KPK deals only with large cases. We need to really seriously transform our way of combating corruption. There are 3 things why corruption is happening. At least 3 reasons. Why corruption happen? Because of need, because of greed, because of system. What is the need? There are many employees of government who are making their salaries or their monthly salary, their annual salary so low that they cannot survive. And this needs to be addressed. We didn't address that very much. We tried to do that in Jakarta. Now, employee of Jakarta government is making equivalent to their counterpart in the private sectors, so that small, corruptions that is dealt with daily people can be addressed. So that's why. Number 2, greed. Of course, that's where KPK is handling the greed. This is about ensuring punitive actions and strict law enforcement through reform in our judiciary system, in our law enforcement agency. And this requires clear political will from the top leadership. It requires from the top, cannot start from anywhere else. And if Indonesia would like to embark on the journey becoming a more advanced country, good governance need to be corrected, practice of corruption need to be seriously handled, and that is one of our main agenda. And I think the public in general were also agreeing on that. There is one aspect that we have overlooked in our political reform, We reform our electoral system, we reform our party system, we reform our centralized government into decentralized government, we reform our institution at the central government 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But we did not reform our political party financing, and that is one of the core issue of corruption's policy today. And political party financing, election financing is nothing new. Many democracies across the globe have dealt with that, and they have many different approaches into solving that problem. We did not touch it yet. We haven't done any reform there, and I think that is one of the key policy reform we need to put forward and to execute. Without addressing this issue, we will always have inconsistency of policies. We will always confront it with intertwine of political interests with policy making. And if you look at studies on middle income track, some of the reason why countries track into this middle income track is because political institutions produce policy that does not reflect public interest and national interest, but reflect micro interest of political party and political groups within the government. And that has been the reason why some countries were tracked in this middle income track. And I think we need to address that. So that's very key. But not less important than that is the issue of meritocracy. I must also say that the issue of meritocracy is important to create the spirit of openness, the spirit of open competition, the spirit of optimism, not only in the area of bureaucracy, but meritocracy in every other aspect. We would like to have that feeling of meritocracy happening again in Indonesia. We had that many years ago, and we'd like to see that is going back. So the point is this: if we are doing all of this, we hope we create a society, a nation that is trustworthy, that the world look at us with trust. And I often told our team, how do you measure trust of the world toward us? Simple. If you're doing investment, you agree to sign the deal in Jakarta, not in Singapore. You sign the deal not in Hong Kong, but here in Jakarta, under our legal system. But if large deals, large investment were still being signed outside Indonesia, that's a simple message that we don't trust your legal system. We don't trust your political system. Therefore, we don't sign our deal here.